At this year's World Economic Forum in Davos, there are more delegates from emerging markets than ever before. We caught up with the president of Botswana, Duma, who said that Africa and all it has to offer should be given more recognition. He says that the future is looking really bright.
I'm not sure whether the world has been quick enough, but certainly the world is beginning to pay attention. And I think the reason the world is paying attention is that Africa has begun to take itself more seriously than it has before. We've now begun and are about to conclude, get everybody on board in relation to the Africa Free Continental Trade Area, which will open the barriers, remove all barricades to trade within Africa, amongst African countries, and increase the volume of trade amongst the African countries. And that is a population of about 1.4 billion. And so when we look, and that's a very young population, whose dynamism and youthful vitality will drive the economy. And by 2050, we will have a much larger population and we will be the youngest continent in the whole world. So Africa has huge potential. But Africa can maximize on the benefits of this potentiality by ensuring that it has stability politically, it has institutions that are durable, that can sustain the countries outside of individuals, and that the economies grow, and the GDP of each country and collectively of the African continent is increased exponentially, as it should and can be. And in the process, the world will now have no option but to pay attention to Africa. Africa is it's not just the next frontier. It is the now frontier. It is the future.
I spoke to Nigeria's trade minister, Jumoke Oduwole, and she said to me that Nigeria is open for business and they're working hard to prove it.
The first thing we're looking at is actually getting Africans excited about investing in Africa, or should I say businesses operating in Africa. There's a lot of money made in Africa, but it tends to go out. So we're trying to retain investment. That's one of the first things that I'm working on. And then since Mr. President assumed office, over $50 billion has been announced as investments coming into Nigeria. Since 10 weeks ago when I was appointed, I'm tracking that. I'm reaching out to those companies. What will it take to make these investment announcements concrete and have all that capital come in?
What steps have you taken to make Nigeria more business-friendly?
Making sure that there's good reform, that the policies are fit for purpose. You know, the administration immediately worked on monetary reforms and on fiscal reforms. So this is where the trade for investment for exports in particular kicks in. So it's an inflection point for the Tinubu administration.
Do you think that voice, the voice Nigeria has, and other economies of the global south perhaps, that having a louder voice now in the global economy?
In the last 5 years, the world has changed quite a bit. And I think that as we listen more and as we actively review our relationships, we're looking out for body language, we're looking out for commitment, we're looking out for which partners, which friends are actually supporting us.
Which sectors in particular might you like to see the relationship growing stronger between China and Nigeria?
On our railways, our road initiatives, our airports, the Chinese government and businesses, Chinese businesses have been quite vibrant in this space, as have Nigerians as well. So we're looking forward to bridging that gap. We're also looking forward to the sectors that are important to us, our exports to China, making sure that that's more robust, making sure that there's more activity in the agriculture sector, because that is where we need a lot of jobs and lots of catalytical. In the digital space, technology, that is where in services we're competitive. So those are the areas that are important.